It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the podcast Never Heard of Them. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well. Thank you for having us.
Doing good.
That's wonderful. Dan, how did y'all know that y'all wanted to start a sports talk podcast?
Well, we've been friends for 10 plus years. We've known each other a long time, and we were at Matt's rehearsal dinner for his wedding, and we're at the bar after, and just like we're always talking, sports and making fun of each other anyway. Might as well, try to do it podcast form. And I had the technology. We got the technology going, and then we started it, and we've been going for like a year and a half, right?
A little longer than that, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, can you talk about what are some of the things that you talk about in the podcast?
So we're big sports guys. A lot of it is baseball, basketball. Liam, who's not here today, is our fight expert. John's got some of all of our football knowledge. So we try to cover as much of it as we can. Really, it's whatever season's in play. But we're also a bunch of goofballs. So we go on tangents and maybe talk about the Animaniacs or Mandalorian or whatever we want to. It's in the theme song.
Bylaws, man. It's in our theme song. We can talk about sports or whatever we want to.
That's cool. Can you talk about how y'all came up with the name Never Heard of Them?
So we're bouncing it around. We figured that we're a bunch of nobodies. Nobody's ever heard of us. Maybe we try and go play off that, but the nobodies was already taken, and we just kind of kept bouncing ideas off each other. And we're a bunch of group of guys that nobody's ever heard of. So we kind of landed on Never Heard of Them. So the Never Heard of Them podcast.
Matt, can you talk about what are some of the segments that you have on your podcast?
At the moment, I don't think we have any at the moment. But
we got a bunch of segments, dude.
We had Campy's College Football Corner for a hot minute though.
Bro, we got like Do They Exist?
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. We got Do They Exist?
So that's like when we think of like an athlete and like or a band or something that we don't think exists, and then we type it into YouTube or Google or something to see if they do exist, and you'd be surprised how many things exist out there. Like, just play that and make up a band name or something, Brandon, and then look them up to see if they exist or not. You know what I mean? And you'll be surprised.
What are some of the more segments you have on your podcast?
So we got we just did a golf, like a pretty much a lazy masters tournament with some guests that have been on the show. And we went and we have this like little table golf thing because the Masters just happened. So we have this little table golf thing. We went frisbee golfing and we filmed it with a bunch of guests we've had. So.
And I won that.
Yeah, and he's got the hoodie on right there. Yeah.
I am the champion.
The Masters has the green jacket, right?
I as the winner have the green hoodie.
Yeah. That's so cool. Who are some of the people that you have interviewed in the past?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, we've run the gambit in different people. I mean, realistically, the people that we want on vary from one side to the other. I mean, we had Razor, who is a world-class mustache and facial hair champion, and is in this kind of obscure sport, if you want to call it, or maybe a sport that, not a lot of people have heard on. We've had, professional fighters. We've had former and current MLB players. I wouldn't say, it's not like we have, LeBron James on or anything like that. But I mean, realistically, a baseballologist.
I was gonna say we've had the first professional baseball fan on.
The first professional baseball fan, Baseball Bro. We've had it's hard to run through the list of who we really had. It's realistically anyone that we find cool and entertaining, that has either a story to tell or has something that we like. That's the main thing. It's we have to enjoy what they're doing or find it interesting, and that's we love just bringing them on and having them talk about what they do.
How do you go about finding some of the people that you've interviewed?
Social media.
Yeah.
That's how we're finding people is Instagram, Facebook. Some of it's personal connections, like some of the fighters through Liam, who's not here, at his gym, or coaches that we've found, it's connections like that. But a lot of it's reaching out on social media and saying, hey, we love what you do. This is cool. This is interesting. Come out and, can you take an hour out of your time to just sit down and talk with us?
Can
Like
you
found
talk?
us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Can you talk about how you came up with the logo design?
So that's another guest that we've had, but on our show, his name's Aztec Soul Art on Instagram. But pretty much I was just scrolling through Instagram one day and found like he does a lot of this like crossover art, he's a 90s kid. It's not all he does, but he like crosses over like different like 90s cartoons and with other stuff like that. Like he'll have like Thanos,
Thanos is did one with NWA and the Power Rangers, I think.
Yeah, he does a bunch of crazy like big bold color artwork, almost tagging-esque, spray paint-esque type stuff. So I hit him up one day, and he's local to where we were, and he was very happy to create stuff for us. He still creates. He actually created the green hoodie. Show it one more time. Yeah, that design for us, and he's become a good friend of ours too. So like a lot of the guests we've had are become like good friends of ours too, which is cool.
What are some of your future plans for Never Heard of Them podcasts?
Well, we're working on a YouTube thing right now. We filmed our Lazy Masters, or Nobody's Masters. So we're working getting that on YouTube. We're working on some merch right now. So getting ready for the holidays. If someone else wants to get their hands on a green hoodie, we're working on making that available to the public. And we're in talks with trying to get some other people on the show as well. So
just growing our audience, man. Yeah, that's the big one. Just grow as many people as we can get to come hang with us when we do our episodes. So Brandon Sports Talk is helping us with that, sir.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know beforehand starting a sports talk podcast?
Well, I'll start. I mean, I didn't think we'd, create all these relationships that we've had. We've gotten to know some really cool people. So, there's a lot of people that are, in the same boat we are, and like just, wanting to talk about, sports or just hang out with their friends and press record and stuff like that. There's a lot of, it's like a little community. So that's what I've learned. I didn't think we'd, have all these relationships that have lasted, so that's been cool with me. I don't know what the other guys are thinking, but
well, I do think that one of the things that some of us have learned is we need to have a little bit of structure. When in the past of kind of going back to how we started this, it was most of us after work, or we'd all meet up, go to a bar, have a beer or two, and just talk about what's going on during the day. And we'd spend 3-4 hours sometimes just hanging out and having a good time. Realistically, if you're pressing record and you want people to listen to it, you can't just talk for 4 hours with random nonsense half the time. So we had to learn a little bit of structure, I think. There was some growing pains of, episodes going too long, too short, not knowing what we're going to talk about for that time. But, we still keep it original that, if we go off on a tangent that may be relevant for the day that, oh, okay, that's cool. Let's talk about that. And, we always bring it back to kind of the main focus, which is always this sports related, NBA, NFL, MLB, UFC, whatever it is.
Actually, we missed the biggest segment on our show. And he's talking about structure, and John's talking about structure. Flubs.
Now, I don't know if that may be a byproduct of the show. I don't know if that's necessarily
it's an ongoing segment.
So what
flub punishments are a segment, that's for sure.
Yeah, but flubs are a huge part of our show. I don't even know why we didn't think of that. But Brandon, flubs are pretty much when you like mess up your words when you're talking. So like if we said like we're happy to be on your latest episode of your show, and we go, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like, and we mess up, like that's a part of our show, fully. So we got, instead of like being embarrassed, like when we do that, we kind of made it into like a little competition where we keep track of those, and then the loser at the end gets punished and stuff like that. So that's a big segment of our show.
Which our season will end December 31st, so we're getting real close to that. And Dan and I are in the hunt for losing/winning.
Well, You're also, we need to give props where props are due. Matt is the reigning flub king. So,
But I've never gone back to back.
Not yet.
Matt, what is something that you learned now that you didn't know beforehand?
I don't speak as good of English as I thought I did. The biggest one is just the community for sports. Like, there's a lot of sports fans out there, but the group of people that are making content, filming fun videos, or getting together to talk and hang out and help grow each other's stuff is really cool. Like Dan was saying, it's a little bit of a community. Stadium Sports is a great one that we've had on our podcast, and we've been lucky enough to get on theirs to help kind of grow and branch out. So that community and support is one thing I didn't realize before getting into this.
Starting off with you, Matt, what advice would you give upcoming future sports talk podcasts looking to get started?
The first one is just start. Whether that's on your phone talking into the microphone, or we're real lucky with Dan to have a full setup. But whatever, if you're thinking about doing it, just start. However you can, just get started, and you'll figure it out more from there.
Dan, what advice would you give future sports talk podcasts looking to get started?
I mean, don't worry about making every one person like if happy. Just if you like it, like, and you think it's awesome, like then post it. Like, don't worry about what a small group would say. You know what I mean? I would say just like what we do is like we just enjoy hanging out with each other, and we think if you like that stuff, you'll follow along, and if not, we'll try our best to have you come hang out the next time. So yeah, just do what you think is good, and I believe in that.
What about you?
Realistically, the only thing I would say is don't be afraid to reach out to others in this community. When we originally started, we saw a void of no one really doing this, and I will admit, I don't think any of us did research of saying, are these podcasts out there that kind of take or kind of put forward that they are biased on certain teams or something like that. But we realized, like Dan and Matt have mentioned, there's a community out there that really is close knit. So, it's always reaching out to other people, discovering other things, sharing ideas, and, not expecting anything from it. It's, hey, you want to be on ours? We'll be on yours, kind of thing. And you're just having a good time. And if you just roll with it and have fun instead of trying to say, well, I need to get something out of this, and you're just doing it, you're going to find yourself growing, more than, if you try to just get something from everyone all the time. So just don't be afraid to reach out to others. It's a fun time, and you're always exploring other people's, points of views and specialties and weaknesses.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find your podcast at on social media along with podcast platforms?
We're kind of everywhere. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play, iHeartRadio. We were just like, what are the platforms, and we'll just be on all of them. And then we're dabbling in the YouTube. We're still like kind of novice at that. We're gonna learn that, but YouTube's gonna come, and Instagram has been our main. So you can follow us on Never Heard of Them Pod on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter too.
That's wonderful. Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck with Never Heard of Them podcast.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Brandon.
man.
Thanks.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck with Never Heard of Them.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks.
Yeah, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.